Welcome to the course Design of Reinforced Concrete Structures. Myself, S. Kranti Vijaya, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Vignan Institute of Information Technology, Duvada. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss regarding the limit state method, what is meant by the characteristic strength and characteristic load, what is the partial safety factors, the design stress strain curves for concrete and the design stress strain curve for reinforcing steel, which are given in IS 456 2000. So first let us get started with the limit state method. So what is meant by limit state method? So in the previous lecture we have already discussed what is the working stress method and the ultimate load method. So in the working stress method and ultimate load method, there are many drawbacks. So due to the drawbacks in those methods are not used in the design of RCC structure. So nowadays in the design of RCC structure, the limit state method of design is used. Now we'll see what is the limit state method of design. So the limit state method of design is an advancement over the traditional methods like the working stress method and the ultimate load method. So it is an advancement over the working stress method and the ultimate load method or the load factor method. So in this particular limit state method, they have taken into account the plastic behavior of the materials also. That is, this limit state method is also called as the plastic design method. Why it is called as the plastic design method? Because the behavior of the materials, that is the steel and the concrete, okay, above the elastic range, that is the behavior of the materials in the plastic stage are taken into account. That is, the original behavior of the materials is taken into consideration. So the behavior of the material goes beyond the elastic limit, that is the plastic stage is taken into consideration. Okay, so this particular limit state method takes into account the ultimate strength of the structure and also the serviceability requirements. That is what in the previous lecture we have already discussed. What for the loads we are going to enhance the loads, and for the materials we are going to decrease the strength of the materials, isn't or not? So in the limit state method, both these are taken into consideration. So in the working stress method, what only the strengths are taken into consideration and the design is done. In the ultimate load method, only the loads are taken into consider and the design is done. But in the limit state method, both the parameters are taken into consideration. That is the ultimate strength of the structure as well as the serviceability requirement. So these two parameters are taken into consideration in the design of the limit state method. So that is the reason why this limit state method is a combination of working stresses and ultimate load method of design. So both are taken into consideration. That is, it is a combination of working stress method as well as it is a combination of the ultimate load method. So here what the concept of safety at the ultimate loads. So at the ultimate loads in the sense the ultimate load method. So ultimate load method as well as the serviceability at the working loads, that is the working stress method. So both the combination is nothing but the limit state method. So in this limit state method, what we are considering the safety at the ultimate loads, that is we are enhancing the loads as well as the serviceability at the working loads, that is the reduced material strength is also taken into consideration as like in the working stress method. So the combination of these two is the limit state method of design. So in the limit state method, Safety is what? Safety implies the likelihood of collapse of structure is low, not only under the normal loads but also under the overloads. So what does this point means? That in the limit state method they are taking safety into consideration, safety point into consideration. So what they are doing here, the chances, okay, for the structure to collapse is very low, not only under the working loads, okay, not only under the working loads, but even though throughout the life of the structure, if there is any excessive loading, due to that excessive loading also, the chances for that particular structure to collapse is very, very low. Why it is very, very low? Because here we are considering the ultimate load, that is we are increasing the load with multiplying it with a suitable partial safety factor. That is actually the load which is acting on the structure is the working load, okay. Not for that working load we are increasing, we are enhancing the load, and for that we are designing, that is we are designing for the more loads. So what working load is a load, what 95%, that load only will be acting on the structure, only there are 5% chances only for that load to exceed. Even though in the life of the structure, if that load exceeds, then also there are very less chances for the particular structure to collapse. So here what we are assuring the safety here in the limit state method of design. And the next one is the serviceability. So serviceability in the sense is what? The satisfactory performance of the structure under the service loads, okay, without causing any discomfort to the users due to excessive deflections, cracking or vibrations, etc. So serviceability, we are assuring serviceability also in the limit state method. How we are assuring serviceability? That is by reducing the material strength, by dividing the actual material strength with a suitable partial safety factor under the working load. So due to that, what actually the material strength is more, but how I am designing that this particular material strength is only this much, that is we are limiting the strength there, so that what happens, even though if the working loads are more, if the stresses induced are more, that particular material can easily withstand or it can easily resist, so that there will be no formation of crackings, excessive crackings or deflections. So in the limit state method of design, both the safety as well as the serviceability requirements are satisfied. So how in the limit state method multiple safety factors, okay, are considered for safety and serviceability requirements, okay, by considering the limit state. So what multiple safety factors in the sense is what? The factor of safety values for the materials for limit state of collapse as well as for the limit state of serviceability. For both differently the values are considered, and also for enhancing the loads also the partial safety factors are considered based on the load combinations, whether the load combination is dead load and live load. If the load combination is dead load, live load and wind load, based on the load combinations also we have more multiple safety factors. So if you'll see in the working stress method, only one multiple safety factor is considered. For concrete it is 3 and for steel 1.78 like that. So here for different combinations of loads and for different materials and for different conditions like limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability, more partial safety factors, different partial safety factors are considered in the limit state of design. So what? The acceptable limit of safety and serviceability requirements before a failure occurs is called as a limit state, okay. So before the occurrence of the failure, okay, what will be the acceptable limits for safety and serviceability? So those acceptable limits are called as the limit state, okay. If it goes beyond those acceptable limits, then the structure, it might be not safe, or it might collapse, or it might become unserviceable. If that particular limit states, if it is being crossed, then the structure, it might either collapse or it would be unserviceable. So what in the limit state method, what both the working stress method as well as the ultimate load method is the concepts of both those methods are taken into consideration, and it is a combination of both the methods. So in this method, what the safety as well as serviceability, both the parameters has taken into consideration, and the design of the structural members is done. So there are two types of limit states. One limit state is the limit state of collapse or failure, and the other limit state is limit state of serviceability. So in the limit state of collapse, we are going to take into consideration the flexure, shear, compression, torsion and all. In limit state of serviceability, we are going to take into consideration the deflection, cracking, durability. All these parameters are taken into consideration. So for the limit state of collapse, we are going to design for flexure, shear, compression, torsion. So all these parameters are we are going to design for in the limit state of collapse, and deflection, cracking, durability and all these parameters we are going to design in the taking into consideration the limit state of serviceability. So these are the two limit states, that is the limit state of collapse and the limit state of serviceability. So now let us see a few terms and terminology which we are going to use in a further lectures in the limit state method. So the first one is being the characteristic strength and the characteristic load. So in the limit state of design, we are going to use the design loads and the design strengths. So to find out the design loads and the design strengths, first we have to know the characteristics loads and the characteristic strength. So now we will see what are meant by the characteristic load and the characteristic strength. So first let us see what is meant by the characteristic strength. So characteristic strength is nothing but the strength of the material which will not the strength of the material below which not more than 5% of the test results are expected to fall. So what does that mean? The characteristic strength in the sense, if I'll take a concrete mix. A concrete mix is prepared and that particular concrete mix is poured in cubes. The size of the cubes being 150 by 150 by 150 mm, and I have cured all the cubes for 28 days. So after curing all the cubes for 28 days, I have got all those cubes, demolded all the cubes, and then I have tested the cubes under a compression testing machine. So I have applied pure compression on that particular cubes. So when pure compression is being applied on that particular cubes, from that what I'll get the compressive strength values. So what is meant by the characteristic strength in the sense is, the values what I'll get here. Okay, if I have taken 20 cubes, so 20 cubes I have tested and I have got some values, some 25, 26, 28, 23, like that. So these are the values what I have got after I have done the compression testing on the cubes. So here if I have got the values for suppose 25 Newton per mm square, in the similar way 26.6, 27.1 Newton per mm square, and I have got some 24 and 28 Newton per mm square. So if these are the values what I have got after testing. Okay, so what does that mean? That the characteristic strength of the material is the strength of the material below which not more than 5% of the test results are expected to fall. For suppose if I have tested 20 cubes, okay, out of those 20 cubes only one cube strength should be less than the strength which is required. If suppose if I have casted for M25 grade of concrete, so all the values what I have got should be either 25 Newton per mm square or above 25 Newton per mm square. Only one cube should get a value less than 25 Newton per mm square. So that particular strength of the material is taken as the characteristic strength. So here it is for the concrete. So what characteristic strength of the material concrete is nothing but the material strength below which not more than 5% of the test results are expected to fall. Only if 20 cubes you are taking, only one cube should get a value less than the material strength what you are expecting. So for suppose if the grade of the concrete is M25, then what will be the characteristic compressive strength? It will be 25 Newton per mm square. If the grade of the concrete, if it is M30, then what will be the characteristic compressive strength? It will be 30 Newton per mm square. So here we have two materials. One material is the concrete and the other material is the steel. If we will consider steel, so what is the characteristic strength for steel? Characteristic strength for steel is nothing but the yield strength of the steel. So yield strength of the steel is, for suppose for example if we will take Fe 250, then what will be the yield strength? It will be 250 Newton per mm square. So this is going to be our characteristic strength. In the similar way, for example, here we have taken Fe 500. Then what will be the characteristic strength? The characteristic strength is denoted by Fy, and it will be 500 Newton per mm square. Here in concrete the characteristic strength is denoted by Fck, and here it will be 25 Newton per mm square. In the similar way, if the grade of steel is Fe 4 and 5, then what will be the characteristic strength? The characteristic strength Fi will be 4 and 5 Newton per mm square. So this is regarding the characteristic strength. Now let us see what is meant by the characteristic load. So all this characteristic strength and the characteristic load, all these definitions are given in IS 456-2000. From that only all these definitions are being taken. So now let us see what is meant by the characteristic load. So what is characteristic load? The load which has 95% of probability of not being exceeded during the lifetime of the structure. So what does that mean? Characteristic load in the sense is the load which is acting on the structure. So there are 95% chances of that load only it will act on the structure. Only there are only 5% chances that that particular load will exceed. Okay, so 95% the chances what we are taking the value, that characteristic load only will be acting on the structure. So that value has to be taken as the characteristic load. So the characteristic loads is different for dead loads, live loads, for wind loads, earthquake loads, and the snow loads. Okay, so all these characteristic loads are taken from another code book, which is IS 875. So you have different parts of IS 875, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 and part 5 for different loads and load combinations. So by using those code books, the values for the characteristic loads are taken. So what is the characteristic load? Characteristic load is the load which has 95% of chances to be acting on that particular structure. Only 5% of chances are only there for that particular load to exceed during the lifetime of the structure. So 95% of probability is that load only will be acting on the structure throughout the life of the structure. So that particular load is taken as the characteristic load. Now let us see what is meant by the design strength and the design load. So first let us see what is meant by the design load. So what in the design of the limit state method, we are going to consider the design loads and the design strengths. So how we will find out the design load? So the design load is nothing but the characteristic load into the partial safety factors. Okay, so we have already discussed previously that in the design of the limit state method, we are going to enhance the load, isn't or not? So how we are going to enhance the load? We are going to multiply the working load into the with a partial safety factor. So with that we are going to get the design load. So the design load is what? The design load is the characteristic load which we will get into the partial safety factor gives you the design load. So this design load only has to be considered in the design of the limit state method. Now let us see what is meant by the design strength. So in the design of limit state method, we are going to consider the design strengths of the material. So how will find out the design strengths of the materials? The design strengths are found out by multiplying the characteristic strength with a suitable factor of safety. So here what? We are dividing the characteristic strength with the partial safety factor. Okay, so what the design strength will get? The characteristic strength FCK if it is concrete divided by the partial safety factor. If it is steel, then Fy divided by the partial safety factor. So the partial safety factors for concrete and steel for the limit state of collapse is given as 1.5 for concrete and 1.15 for steel. Okay, so these two values are given as the partial safety factors for concrete and steel in IS 456-2000, that is 1.5 for concrete and 1.15 for steel. So the design load we are calculating by multiplying the characteristic load with the partial safety factor, and the design strength we are calculating by dividing the characteristic strength of the material with a suitable partial safety factor. Now let us see what are the different partial safety factors, the multiple partial safety factors what we are using in the design of limit state method. So here we can see the partial safety factors what we are using in the design of limit state method for finding out the design strengths and the design loads. So this table is given in IS 456-2000 in the limit state of collapse. So here we have two limit states. One is the limit state of collapse and the other one is the limit state of serviceability. So what previously we have discussed that multiple safety factors are used in the limit state method of design for different load combinations. So these are the multiple safety factors. So here in the limit state of collapse for the materials, that is concrete and steel, the partial safety factors are taken as 1.5 and 1.15, and for the limit state of serviceability, for the materials concrete and steel, the partial safety factors are taken as 1 for concrete and 1 for steel. And in limit state of collapse for the loads. Okay, so here what for the combination of loads also the partial safety factors are taken. So if there is the dead load and live load, the it is taken as 1.5. For dead load and wind load, it is taken as 1.5 or 0.9 into dead load plus 1.5 into wind load, and for dead load, live load and wind load it is taken as 1.2, where in limit state of collapse. And in limit state of serviceability, we are going to consider the partial safety factors for loads as 1 for dead load and live load. For the combination of dead load and wind load also the partial safety factor is taken as 1, and for dead load, live load and wind load combinations, for dead load the partial safety factor is taken as 1, for live load it is taken as 0.8, and for wind load it is taken as 0.8. So these are all what? These are all the partial safety factors which are given in IS 456-2000 for the materials as well as for the combination of loads for the limit state of collapse as well as the limit state of serviceability. So these partial safety factors is what we have to use in the design. Now, till now what we have seen regarding what is meant by the limit state method, what are the different limit states, we have seen regarding the characteristic loads and strengths, design strengths and loads, and we have seen the partial safety factors. Now let us discuss the stress strain curve for concrete as well as the stress strain curve for steel, which is given in IS 456 2000. So this is the stress strain curve for concrete, which is given in IS 456 for the design. What we have to follow for the limit state of collapse flexure. So if here we are taking the flexure condition in the limit state of collapse, by using this particular stress strain curve only, we are going to find out the design strengths of the material. So this particular stress strain curve is going to be for the concrete. So if you will see this, so here we have the three curves. So on the y-axis we are going to have the stress, on the x-axis we are going to have the strain. So if you observe this stress strain curve for the concrete, we can see that up to a strain of 0.002, the curve is, the shape of the curve is parabola, and from a strain of 0.002 to 0.0035, it is linear. So here what we can see, this is the parabolic curve and this is the linear curve. So up to a strain of 0.002, it is parabola, and from that to a ultimate strain, so this is our ultimate strain of 0.0035, it is straight. So after this what it will happen, it will collapse or it will fail. So that is our ultimate strain. So in the design or in the design of structural members in limit state of method, what we are going to do is we are going to consider the design strength. So how we are going to consider the design strength? Here we can see three curves. So what is this curve? This curve is the normal characteristic compressive strength curve. That is, this is the characteristic compressive strength for the cube. So if you take 150 by 150 by 150 mm size cubes, you will cast cubes, and if you will test that particular cubes to pure compressive force, if pure compressive force is applied on that, then you are going to get the characteristic compressive strength, which is nothing but the FCK. So this is the cube strength. But when coming to the structure, okay, so in the structure what, the area will be more, isn't it or not? So and the forces acting on the structure will be different. That is, when you are doing the cube testing, only compressive force is acting on that. But in a structure, within the structure, other than compressive forces, will have tensile forces, shear and all, which will be developed, isn't or not? So in the structure, we cannot directly consider this particular characteristic compressive strength FCK. So if in the structure we are going to consider the characteristic compressive strength as 0.67 times the FCK, that is only 67% strength of the cube strength is taken into consideration when you are considering a structure. Okay, that is a building, a whole building if you will take. Okay, so this will be our strength. Okay, but now what we have discussed earlier, that in the design we are going to consider the design strength. So how will consider the design strength? We'll find out the design strength by multiplying the characteristic strength with a suitable factor of safety. As the material is concrete here, we are going to divide this characteristic strength with a suitable factor of safety. That is, we'll get this equation, that is 0.67 FCK. This is our characteristic strength divided by gamma m. It is nothing but the partial safety factor. So what is the partial safety factor for concrete? We have already seen, which is given in IS 456 2000. It is 1.5. So 0.67 FCK divided by 1.5 gives you 0.45 FCK. So in the design of limit state of collapse, what you are going to consider, the design strength for the concrete is taken as 0.45 FCK, and the maximum strain in the concrete is taken as 0.0035. So and the stress is taken as 0.45 FCK. So this is the stress strain curve for concrete. Now let us see the stress strain curve for steel. So these are the stress strain curves for the steel reinforcement. So one curve for this curve is for the mild steel bars, and this curve is for the HYSD bars, as we have mild steel bars and the HYSD bars. So mild steel bars are Fe 250 and the HYSD bars are Fe 415 and Fe 500 grade steels. So first let us see the stress strain curve for the mild steel bars. So if you observe here, this is going to be our stress and this is our strain. So in the stress strain curves for mild steel bar, so what this curve is our characteristic curve. So characteristic curve is the characteristic strength which is Fy, that is the yield strength of the steel. But in the design, what we have to do, we have to divide the characteristic strength or the yield strength of the steel with a suitable partial safety factor. So what is the partial safety factor here for steel? It is 1.15. So what will be the design strength for steel? It is Fy divided by 1.15, which will give us 0.87 Fy. So in the design, what we have to do, the design strength for the steel has to be taken as 0.87 Fy. So it is mentioned here. Okay, so this is going to be our design curve. And here what? Here what? The similar is for the HYSD bars also. So the HYSD bars also, you can see the characteristic curve here. It is Fy. In the similar way, the design curve will be Fy divided by 1.15, which will give you 0.87 Fy. So 0.87 Fy is going to be our design strength what we are going to take for the steel for Fe 415 as well as Fe 500 bars, that is the HYSD bars. So now here if you observe, generally for the mild steel bars, each and every point is specifically determined, that is the yield point, the ultimate point. Every points are clearly defined in the stress strain curve for the mild steel bars. So it is not the same case for the HYSD bars. So for the HYSD bars, the yield point is not specifically shown. So here in this mild steel bars, okay, here in the design curve, here is our yield point. So if we draw a line here, okay, so here we can find out the strain. So how we'll find out the strain? This is the initial slope. The initial slope will be equal to the modulus of elasticity of steel, which is 2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per mm square. So strain is what? Strain is stress by modulus of elasticity. So strain, how can we find out for the mild steel bars? That is, this is nothing but the stress divided by the modulus of elasticity. What is the stress here? The stress here is 0.87 Fy. So 0.87 Fy divided by the modulus of elasticity Es, which is same for both mild steel as well as HYSD bars, which is 2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per mm square, which will give you the strain here. Now if you want the strain for the HYSD bar, so for HYSD bar the yield point is not specifically known. So for that reason what we are doing is we are this particular slope, the same parallel to this particular slope, we are going to draw a line. Okay, so to this particular slope parallelly I am going to draw a line, and where this particular line is intersecting on these curves, I am going to take that point as the yield point. So from this yield point we are going to draw a line, and this distance will be our strain. So how we will find out that strain? With the help of the proof stress. So based on the proof stress, this distance is going to be 0.002, and if you observe this particular triangle and this particular triangle, both are the same. So what is the strain here? The strain here is 0.87 Fy by ES. So here what it will be? The strain will be 0.002 plus 0.87 Fy by ES. So this is going to be our ultimate strain in HYSD bars, that is in the tensile reinforcement. So the stresses in the steel reinforcement is taken as 0.87 Fy, and the strain is taken as 0.002 plus 0.87 Fy by ES. So these two are the stress strain curves for steel which are given in IS 456 2000. So till now what we have discussed regarding the limit state of method and the basic terms and terminology which we are going to use in our further designs. All those basic terms and terminologies, the stress strain curves for concrete and steel, all those are discussed in this particular lecture. So in the next lecture we are going to discuss regarding the assumptions of limit state method. Thank you.